Welcome to Kuntry Klub Live, everybody. Looks like we got Mike Whaley in the house. Today we've got Alan Puccinelli, better known as Pooch, the owner, operator, entrepreneur that is Repkord. So I'm going to put him on camera. He's going to introduce himself, and then we're going to get right into the questions, just like we always do. Y'all have your questions ready. I got one on Twitter today, but y'all have them ready so we can get this ball rolling. All right, Pooch, it's all you, buddy.
Hey, what's up, Kuntry Klub? Thanks for having me. Walter, always good hanging out with you, bud. I am Repkord, as many people have said. A lot of people know me as Pooch. I have a little brand I like to call Repkord, but when people ask me what I do, I like to say I'm a 3D printing maker, evangelist, slash business owner, slash just all-around goofball. So, you know, I get my hands in a little bit of everything, but, you know, it's all fun, and I'm trying to kind of support the hobby, support the passion, should I say, along the way, because it's grown to be more just a hobby these days.
All right, cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, you've been YouTubing a while, so I didn't hear content creator in there. Okay, but
content creator should be in there as well. Yep,
it should be, because 12 years, Pooch.
Yeah. So, you know, if anybody's been paying attention, if you ever looked at my YouTube channel, you might see, like, way back in the back catalogs of the videos I did, there was a brand I had, a channel. It used to be called Voodoo, and it was like this was in the early days of YouTube, and my buddy and I just did a bunch of, like, how-to videos on just all kinds of strange stuff. You know, how to braid hair, how to start a fire, you know, with a flint, how to play guitar chords. I mean, we had all kinds of wacky stuff on there. I mean, really, it's funny because, you know, I think we maybe made like 70 of these things, but at the time, you know, there wasn't a lot of other competition out there. We were, I think we got in kind of at the right time. It was right around the time the iPhone. It was prior to the iPhone launching, and so once people, you know, the smartphone revolution came in and people started watching stuff more online. I wouldn't say we ever had the best stuff, but we were kind of like one of the first things out there. And so, you know, if you look at some of the views we had on some of our early videos, it's, you know, there's millions and millions of them, and the early algorithms for YouTube were such that it was very much like the rich get richer type thing, where if you kind of were first to have something, you know, you rank really well in search results, and, you know, more and more people would watch it and stuff like that. So they've since refined it, and, you know, I left that stuff in the archive. But you know, I rebranded it Repkord, so it's more 3D printing making related stuff, and I don't get nearly enough stuff up there. But, you know, I try every once in a while to keep fostering some content.
Yeah, I was looking, and it, you know, the views that you have on some of these videos are through the roof.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, because 8 years ago, it looks like you took about a 7-year hiatus from YouTube.
I did. That would be about consistent with when I started having kids.
Yeah, right. I hear you. So that tends to change things.
That really puts a cramp on you know, some of the you know, side projects and stuff. But it was a cool thing. We actually went as far on that. There was the YouTube channel itself was never meant to be kind of what it became. We had a website where we were hosting all this video ourselves and all that, and then we realized pretty quickly that, you know, all the eyes were at YouTube, and so, you know, we kind of threw everything over there, and then then life happened. Got married, had kids, and then that kind of. And then my buddy that was doing it with me, you know, he got a full-time job, and so that we kind of went our ways on that. But, you know, that's how that went. Yeah,
no, man, that's really cool. I was watching some parkour and all that kind of stuff earlier.
A lot of commentary on that parkour.
I was watching how-to parkour, but I'm 40, almost 46. I don't think I'm gonna be doing that anytime soon. But then it looks like you made the turn into making. And that's really cool. I mean, what led you into the maker community versus, and I know you were making before, but into 3D printing and that type of stuff that I'm seeing you come into, you know?
Well, like, professionally, I'm a web developer, so I spend a lot of time in front of the computer, right? And so any opportunity I have to get away from the computer and work with my hands a little bit more, that is more than just typing, I'm all about it. And so I was lucky. I was raised. My dad was always had me out in his workshop growing up. Swinging the hammer from a very young age, and there's photos of me could crawl just out there, and he'd have the radio on, would do his woodworking projects or whatever, and I'd be right out there alongside of him. And I owe everything I know about my handyman making background to that man, and I don't know, it just really blossomed into a passion for just doing projects. I love home improvement stuff. I love hacking things. I like improving, trying to find something to make it better. I really like having variety in my life. So, I say I'm an aspiring polymath. I don't think anybody can really ever claim to know it all. But I think if I was ever doing the same thing over and over, I'd get bored. And so, getting into the making world, there's just so much variety, right? There's so many different things you can be focused on. I mean, 3D printing is a small aspect of that, but it really enables you to do some really cool stuff that you might not otherwise have access to.
Right. Well, and from some people's perspectives, I mean, your earliest, I guess, make something video after that was about a year ago. So is that about the same time you got into 3D printing, or was it after that you actually got into the 3D printing world?
Yeah, so I'd say I got into 3D printing a bit before that, but I didn't start, really trying to add some content. And even then, like I still feel like I'm very small potatoes in terms of the content creation as compared to like some of those bigger creators out there. But I was a little later to the game and recording stuff. And, anytime I'm sure you know this, man, anytime that you want to document and record and post a video on something, it takes you like 3 times as long, right?
Yes.
And so when time is a premium, you got little kids running around and you're trying to balance family life and work and travel and all that stuff. It's all too easy to just want to, I really want to get this done. And it's a bummer because I feel like I've done so many cool things over the years. And, had I had a camera on me, like I think there would have been really, fascinating pieces of content. But, unfortunately, they never come to be.
Well, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And that's why I do everything live, because people get to see that agony. You know how it was. You were putting a printer bot together. You get aggravated. Man, it's crazy. But so a little over a year ago or so, you get into 3D printing. Now, your first, you're doing fidget spinners on here. I see the fidget spinner stuff going on. Did you catch that in time to make money? Come on, man.
Guilty. No, I never made any money off fidget spinners. I mean, let's be honest. Like when I first got started with the whole thing, I think my kids, before they even knew it was a 3D printer, they called it a fidget spinner machine, right? Because they were just asking, "We're really just going to do that? Can I have this kind of spinner?" And it was fun and all that. And actually, the fidget spinner thing is interesting though, because like that's what kind of really got me latched into the community a little bit better. So I don't know if you remember, around, it's probably a little more than a year ago now, but Travis, Pyro Design, was doing his little running Mario fidget spinner. You ever see that? Or his Sonic the Hedgehog? He had like the little animated spinners.
No, I haven't seen.
That's worth checking out if you ever get a chance. So he basically took, he does a lot of laser cutting. He has a sign shop, right? And so he would sublimate basically frames of, say, Mario, in various like 8-bit running poses. And then there's an effect on digital cameras, especially when you take it out into the sun, called the rolling shutter effect, so that when you spin it in front of the camera, it will. You ever heard of a zoetrope? You've been down to the museum and they show it basically creates the running horse kind of thing. It's the same kind of effect, right? And so he created these little animated spinners, and I saw that and I'm like, hey, that's really cool. And I kind of did a 3D printed version that had some stars spinning around 4th of July a year ago, and then we just kind of started chatting and hitting it off, and I realized he was close by to me, which was nice because there's not a really big maker community where I am up in the foothills of California. But he's about an hour from me, and so so we really hit it off. And then I learned a lot from him in terms of just sharing on social media and meeting, Joel and all these other fabulous people out in the community. And then I was hooked, it was just like, I want to be part of this crowd because, there's just so much fire and energy there.
Well, that's cool, man. And I know exactly what you mean about meeting all these cool people, because I have to confess, when I got into 3D printing, I didn't know anything about YouTube. Okay, I was not a YouTube connoisseur. I watched Alonzo Larone, get a dictionary. I don't know if you've ever seen him or not, but I laughed at him. He'd read people's tweets where they can't spell. That's all I ever watched. I didn't know anything about YouTube when I got into 3D printing. So, I didn't have friends where I live at. You're talking about living in the foothills of California. I live in the swamps. They don't have 3D printers out here, So,
yeah.
I was kind of on my own. But now and to me, and I know other people looking in, Filament Frenzy said on here, he didn't even know you had a YouTube. He just thought you were a Twitter god,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But I'm kind of embarrassed. I mean, I feel like my YouTube's like all over the place. It's just a hodgepodge. It's just all sorts of random stuff. And I'm just in awe of, the Anguses, the Joels, the Toms, the Travises, these people out there that are just like so good at fostering amazing content and are so personable and engaging, And so I feel like, I feel very humble to be able to spend time with some of those and call some of those people my friend, So I think as much as I like the YouTube, and I have a lot of fun doing it, I never really set out to be a big time content creator in the maker arena. Of course we got the catch up and we've got some other things where I'm kind of involved in stuff, and that's been kind of an interesting, we can get into that a little bit later if you want. That's been an interesting surprise in terms of how well that kind of took off, and yet another thing that I that I commit time to that I love. But I'm learning a lot. Hope get more up there as I can go, and who knows where we'll go next.
Well, yeah, no, I get it completely, and I'm in all of those guys too. I mean, Tom and Angus have been doing this a while. Joel, I think his voice and his authenticity, and he got in right at the right time. I believe that just made his take off, because he has that radio voice that everybody wants to listen to anyway. It blows me away watching some of his early content. And I'm like, and now watching where he's at now, So
yeah, absolutely.
It's really cool.
I'm really lucky that I've gotten to spend. So I was just up. Anybody that's been following along on Twitter knows I was just up in Pacific Northwest, and so I got to spend some time with Joel. I got to spend some time with the good people at Protopasta, and I wish I had some more time, because there was a couple other people up there that I didn't get a chance to see. Because for me,
you got called out on Twitter for that.
I got called out on Twitter.
Yeah.
How's that?
What? Who was it that said that you were up there and you didn't come see her?
Who called me out up there?
It wasn't Heather. It was the what's her name? I forgot her name. Dang it!
Now you kill me. You gotta let me know. I want to know who I missed.
Remember, because you said you came back and said, "Well, next time I'm in Nebraska."
Oh, Nebraska. Yeah. Okay, I thought you meant there was somebody up in the Pacific Northwest that I had missed.
No.
Chelsea and Garrett. Tech. They're awesome. They're awesome peeps. I finally met Chelsea. It's funny because a lot of these people you interact and you almost start to feel like you know them, even though you've never met them. And so I met them only for the first time at Murph, last year. And that was just awesome. And Chelsea and I have a good little fun little razzing we like to do with each other online. We got the kind of the frenemies thing. But I love them both. And yes, I mean, truly, if I ever am in Nebraska, I would absolutely look them up, but I haven't had the opportunity yet.
Well, and what you're talking about, going to see Joel and going to Protopasta and meeting all these wonderful people. That's the one thing about the 3D printing community that I love so much. They are so open. It's just like, I'm not anybody in the 3D printing community, okay? I'm just not.
Yeah.
But it is so cool to be able to hang
yourself short, man.
What's that?
Don't sell yourself short. You're somebody.
I'm not trying to.
3D, baby, come on.
I know, but I'm not trying to sell anything, man.
I know you're a humble man, Walter, and I respect that.
Well, but it's so cool though, because these content creators that we all watched, learning how to print and learning what to do and what printers to buy and stuff like that. All of these content creators and all these 3D printing gods, if you will,
yeah,
they'll hang out, man. They're open. They'll talk to you. It's just, if you have a question, just ask it.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all regular people, man. I think that's the interesting thing about, and Joel could speak to this way better than I can, because he's just on a whole nother level of public figure. I mean, he oftentimes is considered the face or one of the big faces in our space and stuff, and so he gets approached all the time by people, and he does just an amazing job of just making everybody feel like he's listening to you, he's your friend, he's interested, he wants to help. He's just very approachable, and I'm really lucky. Even when I was going up there, I just had a couple things that I was going to drop off with him. I wasn't expecting to really get to spend any time with him, because I know he's a busy guy. And he's like, "No, come over to the house, and we'll hang out." And we went and had a meal together, and he's so inviting and so welcoming, and I'm just really lucky to say that he's my friend, and I can say the same thing for a lot of these other great makers that I've met. You're absolutely right. I mean, the community is top notch, fantastic. Everybody's got a lot of passion. Everybody's very supportive, and I'm just really, really happy to be part of it.
All right, so let's move forward. We've got through ViewDo. Looks like you went through a couple other name changes. Make It Wednesday or whatever it was. I've turned it down now. I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah. We had the Hump Day Rep Wrap Up on Wednesday.
Hump Day, yeah, that's it.
The Make Every Day series. And, so I was doing a couple different things. Yeah.
Weekend, the weekend edition of the Rep Wrap Up. That's it. That's what it was.
Yeah, the Rep Wrap Up, right?
So, but before that, you had products that you're selling for 3D printing. Nozzle cleaners and other things. I mean, what prompted you to do that? I mean, because they're readily available from China, and sure. I mean, it's hard to break into that space. What made you actually?
It really is, and I've learned a lot, along the way. But it really started because, so I think I mentioned to you. So I'm a web programmer, so I do websites. Spend a lot of time in front of the computer, and I've done a lot of e-commerce sites in my day. And so I was building a lot of Amazon stores for people, doing various stuff, and I've had some mentors that have done quite well in Amazon, on Amazon, and having worked on their sites, and actually having access to some of the books on that, and just realizing what kind of volume there is and what kind of opportunity there was. I said, yeah, I can do that. What's something I'm interested in that's up and coming, that could be a niche, and so. I got a printer, and I'm like, I really love 3D printing, and I think the thing that a lot of people think that are getting into the space that seems obvious, that if you look at the analog of 2D printing, that they're practically giving printers away. The money's in the consumable, right? And so part of me's thinking like, well, what if I create a little brand and as a means to kind of help support what I do, and some of the content maybe I want to make and the prints that I want to run. I'll see if I can't get a supply from China originally and put my brand on it, and that's what I did. And so that's kind of where it started. I've learned a lot about importing and exporting and why that's good sometimes and why it's bad. And then I supplemented with some made in the USA offerings. So I found some suppliers here, and just kind of slowly but surely, the filament grew into, selling nozzles and selling heater cartridges and rep wrap parts, and the cleaning kit was like one of the first things where I identified kind of a need that I didn't feel like there was a good solution to. So a lot of the cleaning kits early on were those little PCB drills. They're like a little tiny drill. And they're so brittle that if anybody's ever used them at that side, at that size, they're tungsten carbide, which is a really hard metal, but they're really brittle at that size. And so they're not great for that, because one, they're going to tear up your soft brass nozzle, and two, they're so brittle they just snap off. So anybody that's done that. So I'm like, I can do better than this. And then I started shopping around trying to find a manufacturer in China that could basically get me, just these little steel rods, that were the size they were. And, then that little kit was born. And then I've been just kind of slowly adding stuff to that.
Now these, I have one. I actually have one here.
Yeah, take that thing out, man. I'm glad to see you haven't had the need to use it yet.
No, well, the only one I'm going to need to use it on is the TiVo Little Monster, and it's down until I get a duet to put on it. So that's down for a bit. But I don't know if this is personal or not. Are you still married?
I am divorced.
Okay. I was just wondering because I was going to see how your significant other deals with the YouTube, like some of the others do.
Did not very well, and we don't need to go into that too much. But all I'll say is that anybody out there that's thinking about getting into business and is married and has a family, the number one piece of advice I can offer you is make sure you have a supportive spouse, because that will make all the difference. As I'm sure you can,
Dude, we have had many long night conversations about how much time I actually put into YouTube channel. Believe me. We've had many. Now, Afro 3D printer said he can't be here long, so I'm going to ask you, do you have the printer belt running?
No, I do not yet. So one of the reasons that I went up to Seattle, so thank you, Afro 3D printer. Yeah, we chat offline. Sometimes we'll direct message and stuff, and I appreciate your acknowledgement of my hard working, although I think you're overselling me a bit. But anyway, because of all the things I have my hands in between web development and I'm running my store and doing the catch up and all that stuff, I realized pretty quickly that, if I want to get something done with any kind of expedience, trying to leverage the community to kind of help me with that has been a really great way to go about it. And so I was lucky enough to meet Keith Kovala back at New York Maker Faire last year. And we've always, we've been good friends and chatted and stuff. And, I told him I've got this printer belt and I'm going to get it started, but I don't know that I'm going to have time to get the thing all the way to where it needs to be, because this is a really pretty advanced kit in the sense that you're given a bunch of parts with some very minimal direction, and that's about it. So one of the reasons when I brought it up with me up to Seattle up there, so they're closer to Portland actually. And so I got it started, and now Keith is actually taking the ball and running with it a little bit for me. And as sad as I am, that I don't get to actually see it all the way through myself, I think the bigger picture for me is I would really like to have that thing up and running for generating some of the parts that we're building for Travis and I's printer rep box. Right. So I wanted to try to get that thing up and going sooner than later, and so I kind of had to forgo my own pleasure of building that kit.
I hear you. Well, okay, so we were moving into products. I just wanted to get that because he asked it and he said he couldn't stay long. He was just dropping by, so that's okay.
It's getting late over in the UK. Yeah,
yeah, it is. I know. And Filament Frenzy said, "Oh man, I wish I lived in USA. It really wouldn't do you any good unless you live over there where everybody's at, or up north where everybody's at, because there's very few people in the Southeast where I'm at, as far as businesses or stuff like that to go visit or go see or whatever."
Yeah.
And not only that, it's so far to drive, because like just for me to go see Glenn at Fun King, it's 4 hours, from here.
Is that 4 hours by a swamp boat? What is it?
No, it's by car. Come on, man.
It's by car.
We actually have had 12 inches of rain in the last 3 days.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's dry and hot here. I'd love to get some of that rain, man.
It's wet here. But so when did you start getting into the filament side? And what made you take that route?
Yeah. So I mean, the filament thing was like really the first thing I did, because I was like, okay, well, if in the 2D printing world, they're making all their money off of consumable ink. The analog was like, well, hey, you got to get into some filament, because that's something that people are always going to have a need for. They're going to print, they're going to run out, they're going to need more, they're going to want to try different colors, they're going to want to try different materials. And so, that made a lot of sense. When I originally got into it, it was a much less competitive space. I mean, there's always been a bunch of different manufacturers and stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that's always come out of China and overseas. There's really only a handful of companies that are producing domestically. I'm excited to see that we're seeing, a few more. these days because, you know, the more we're dealing with tariffs and trade wars and stuff like that, you know, the more compelling it is to try to produce domestically. And I always like to try to support made in the USA where I can. But yeah, you know, so I got into filament. I feel like if you're in the 3D printing, you know, space, if you say you're into 3D printing accessories, you got to have something in the way of filament offering. At least that was my initial contention, and I still plan to. So that's changing up really pretty quick here. I'm excited to say, you know, I'm going to version 2 on some of my popular, you know, filaments like the purple haze that everybody has been, you know, excited.
I've got one little bitty sample of purple haze right over there. It's the only one I've got, and I haven't found anything to print with it yet because it's all I got. And it was given to me by one of my subscribers. I can't remember who it was right now, but it's been sitting over there on the shelf in a Ziploc baggie, waiting for the right moment.
People love that purple haze, man, and I was I think I really missed the boat on getting that thing, you know, riding that wave a little bit more because, you know, I ran out of stock before I had a good, you know, resupply solution. The supplier that I originally did for that, you know, our business relationship kind of went south, and I didn't have a good, you know, backup plan. So, and I had a lot of other stuff going on in my life at that time, so that, you know, that kind of got backburnered. But you know, back at it, you know, firing on all cylinders again. So new stuff, exciting stuff coming up, and I guess I could talk about. I don't know. You want to hear about that stuff? Is that interesting to people? I don't.
Well, no. I mean, I got another question right along the filament line.
Go ahead. I don't want to jump on your questions.
No. It's not that. I mean, I want to continue this filament thing because filament is so. I don't know. So diverse. Okay, you can go from cheap filament that prints like butter to expensive filament that just clogs your friggin' nozzle every time you stick it in there. So how do you balance when you're wanting to, you know, sell a product? How do you balance that quality control? Because I know you don't produce filament, you work with a supplier to do the colors and stuff like that.
So as a rebrander of something, that is incredibly hard because you are basically victim to I don't want to say victim, but you're subject to whatever the manufacturer is supplying and stuff. And so, you know, the real test of quality comes with time, right? So consistency over time. And that is an incredibly difficult thing, you know, when you're getting started, because at some point you got to take a shot, right? You know, you got to say, you do all your homework, you get your samples, you talk to your references, you check out the facilities. But at some point, you got to pull that trigger and say, okay, I'm going to take a shot with this. And, you know, hopefully it works out. And you hopefully start with a small, reasonable order and you see how that goes. And then you go to the next and stuff. And so ideally, you want to be able to kind of it's not a just-in-time model, but it's like you get it, you see how it sells. If it's selling well, great, order more. And you know, try to forecast as you're going. That's really hard when your brand's making new because you don't have a lot of data to work with.
Well, see, now I was wondering, did you drop ship or were you actually stocking this stuff?
You're never drop shipped. I stocked it. I mean, it was a point where I was getting pallets of stuff in my garage, and I was taking it and I was, you know, bundling it up and sending it to Amazon. And then, you know, as I got bigger, I started having the manufacturers do a lot of that labor for me because like Repkord is me, man. It's like it's just me. And
I get it.
that's a funny notion because, you know, anytime there's a brand, you'll get people. I get comments all the time. The you know, people will be like, "Oh, we'd love to come to your headquarters and, you know, talk to you." I'm like, my headquarters, I live in a, you know, right house. I don't have a headquarters, you know. I would love to someday, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but, y'all show up at my trailer home. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, I was working out of a trailer for a period of time. I just had a little toy hauler that I'd kind of, you know, cleared everything out of. I had my desk in there and all that stuff. You know, so that was really cool. But yeah, you know, that's a whole nother challenge too, as a one man band. And I'm getting to a point now where it's growing bigger than me, you know. And so finding what that next step is, you know, getting a little bit more aggressive with some investing and you know, trying to grow, because if you're not going to grow, you're not going to survive. So and it depends on what your passion is. You know, it's like if I was just looking to just, you know, kind of do this as a hobby on the side, and, you know, if I'm out of stuff, cool. There's a lot of people that do that, right? You know, they'll get some stuff, and, you know, if it's out of stock, they're like, I'm out of stock on this for a while. Maybe I'll get it again, maybe I won't, or whatever. But it just depends on what your goals are and what your resources are and all that stuff.
No, I get it completely, man.
Yeah.
Just like I've done with I don't know if that's you feeding back. I mean, I got echo.
Oh, you got some echo?
Yeah.
Is it me?
Yeah, I think it's you. It just started. There it is. That's better. Now your mic's not picking it up. It's the way your mic turned or something.
Yeah, it could be. I'll try to keep it a little more directed this way.
That's fine. That's not a problem. But yeah, I get it. You know, and that's why, like with Alien 3D and Chris from Venturi 3D and the guys from Slice Engineering, you know, I've been just forcing it down people's throat. Hey, check them out. You know, I don't know anything about most of them. You know I get the Alien 3D box. I see those. But like Slice Engineering, and you know, anytime, dude, I will definitely, if you have a product launch, I'll do the banner rotation like I do for everybody else, man.
Well, that's appreciated, and that's one of the best things about this community, man. Everybody's just so supportive, you know. It's awesome.
I want to see people succeed, man. I mean, that, you know, that's just all it's about. It's just.
If it weren't for people like you, I mean, I don't have the money to have big marketing campaigns and, stuff like that too. So, social media and word of mouth is really all I got. And so, Josh with Alien and, Chris and a lot of these other guys, I mean, there's a camaraderie, I think, around a lot of these people that take that leap because, it's scary. And it's good to have other people that can relate and talk, and I've been really lucky that, all these trade shows that I've gotten to go to and all these events I've gotten to go to, I feel like I'm meeting more people and people are coming up to me and, just telling me all these great and positive things. And that's what really energizes me, that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. And I mean, your booth at Earth, dude, I mean, really and truthfully, did you go to Murph last year?
I did go to Murph. I never had, so Earth was the first place I ever had a booth anywhere.
Right. That's what I thought. I thought I saw you at Murph, but I was new. I was brand new. That was my second place I'd ever been. I mean,
I think you were just coming on the scene around that time, or just a little bit before that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I did my first YouTube video in January, so yeah, I'm brand new.
But see, that's what I love. I mean, I love that just new people are coming in. They're passionate about it. I mean, you're in a cool little spot because like you said, you don't have a lot, down in the southeast where you're at, and it's always good to know that there's makers popping up all over the place, and there's room for everybody. I mean, I'm a big advocate of rising tide lifts all boats. Yeah, I think there's room for everybody. I'm not the kind of person that gets out there and feels like everybody's his competition. I think that together we all kind of win, and the people that have that mindset are the ones I think that seem to do the best. And so I try to emulate that, And
see, that's what I've tried to tell the guys on my channel, because you look at it, some channels, and I don't know what PewDiePie's got now. What's he at, 60 million subscribers, some crap like that?
Yeah.
But okay, so there's 60 million people that are tuning into YouTube. All right, Joel's got 300,000. Angus is around 3 something, and Tom's at 200 or whatever he's at.
Yeah.
That's 900,000. That's not even a million yet.
Right. I mean, that's an interesting industry. So even like you look at like Barnacules, who's like Jerry's been probably one of the original, talking about 3D printing. I mean, he had all kinds of stuff on his channel and stuff, but he's not even in a million yet. Right. So he hasn't been producing as much content lately and stuff like that. But it's a nice reminder. I'm like, that's still a lot of people, but we're still such a small snippet, in the overall scheme of like how many people are out there watching stuff.
Oh,
now, I'd always argue, quality over quantity. So PewDiePie can have the 60 million, man, I'm happy with my, my following, and because I know that I'm getting good interaction with a lot of these people, and no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what I want to grow and I want to be big, but I love what I have now, because I can keep up with chat, and I can jam with the chat, and I watch like Barnacules, and I'm like, there's no way, man. There's no way you can just keep up with chat that way, All right. So I know you're answering chat. I see you typing.
Yeah, I don't know how Barnacules does it, man, or even Joel. If you ever watch, like, his chat is just going, brrr, like so fast that, now the last stream he did, he had his wife working with him, which was awesome. I got to meet Mickey, and she's just really awesome lady. And I always love seeing, you know, family getting involved in stuff too. And so it's nice to have somebody that can help kind of feed you stuff. Man, you know, that's just a whole nother level of, and you know, Joel, you gotta, one, if you're going to be kind of a face, you gotta have a thick skin. So, you know, he's always getting, I'd say for the most part, 99.9% positive, but you always got these people out there that are just going to try to bring you down. And, you know, he does a remarkable job at either reframing or redirecting. And, you know, if it gets to the point, you know, you ignore it, but he does the best he can, I know, to reply to everybody. And he's getting hammered left and right with just requests for stuff. And, you know,
I asked him when I interviewed him, I'm like, dude, I don't know how you do it. I mean, I've got at that time, I only had like 300 followers. And I'm like, and I'm inundated with tweets and emails and comments and just, you know, just all around general, hey, can you help me out stuff? Or can you talk for a minute or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
It's difficult.
It is
difficult.
It is. You know, I was talking to Angus and Ash, his girlfriend, at Maker Faire last year. And, you know, Ash is kind of like the acts as the, you know, the gatekeeper a lot of the time, because there are so many people that are like walking up to Angus, you know, that she'll almost like step in front of him sometimes to kind of intercept, you know, see, because like the guy is just exhausted from talking like 24/7 to everybody that's coming up to him.
Right.
And so I think it's good to have a junkyard dog, you know. No, I don't mean to call Ash a junkyard dog. She's a really awesome gal and stuff, but it's neat that when you get to a certain level, it's good to have, you know, people you trust really helping you out, because that's, you know, that's important.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. All right. So so filament. Okay. New colors. Now, are you integral in coming up with new colors, or is it something where you go, hey, I like that color, I want to brand it? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I get asked that all the time too. I'll get asked like, when are you going to release this color or that color or this material? So yeah, basically the latter part of what you said. So I see a color that I like, and I say, you know, that's great. Originally, my color offerings were just like the stock offerings from a lot of these suppliers, and then I just kind of put my own name and packaging around it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm only now getting into custom colors. It's expensive to release colors, because, you know, you have to buy in bulk. You know,
right.
You're just doing one spool at a time. So, you know, you got a master batch, you got a color test, you know, and all that stuff. And then the key is obviously you want something that's reproducible over time. So even if you do a batch now, you got to make sure that formula is dialed to where it is, and you have a supplier you trust to be able to just nail that same exact color the next, you know, batch. And that's harder with some filaments than others. And, you know, Protopasta, Alex and Keith could certainly speak way better to that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of how I approach colors. So right now my offering is really the basic rainbow, and then there's going to be a new ad coming up, which I'm not allowed to announce quite yet, but I'll tease that it's coming. It's going to be good. A lot of people are going to be interested in it.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Tinkers is in here now. They do some amazing things with filament. So
there's Keith. Yeah, Keith could tell you all about that stuff, or Alex even, man. They're the mad scientists at Protopasta. That was a fun trip.
They still haven't made the Kuntry 3D color yet. I'm still waiting on that. I've put it in 1,000,000 times to Keith, and he keeps, you know, he said he's gonna have to do it on the weekend. But
yeah, right. Well, you know, they just had that, and I got some really good video of this actually. Well, you know, while we're on the subject of Protopasta, I was up there, and Alex and Keith, you know, they don't do tours there. They don't even their shop is unmarked. Like, it doesn't have, there's no Protopasta sign on the wall, and so, you know, they don't want, they're kind of a small operation. They don't want people just wandering off the street. And so, you know, I told them I was coming, and they were gracious enough to, you know, take the afternoon off, give me the tour, show me around. We did a little interview around their custom filament workshop. So I don't know if you heard about that or not, but last weekend, not last weekend, but the weekend before, they had a really small, you know, 8-person workshop where they had people come in and get to make their own custom filament. Yeah. And we kind of talked about it a little bit on the catch up, but, you know, I got to get more of a deep dive catch up on location interview with them. and I'm hoping I can release that video this week. Video editing is just yet another thing that takes up my time. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, living on that side of the country, because, you know, or up near Pennsylvania where, you know, Printed Solid is, and places like that. You know, you've got Matter Hackers, you've got Protopasta, you know, you've got the hotbed. The hotbed is really, you know, that side of the country or in the Northeast. You know?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I'm still like, California is big, so, you know, Matter Hackers, they're down in, you know, the LA area, which is like a good 8-hour drive from where I am here. And then, you know, it's probably, well, if I was driving, I didn't drive, I flew up there, but, you know, it's probably a good 12 to 14-hour drive up to Portland, and then another 3 hours up to Seattle. So, you know, you got to be willing to travel if you want to, you know, see some of these things. It's not like they're in my backyard. Yeah,
no, I get it. Yeah, Murph was 16 hours for us, and Earth was 16 hours for us. So, yeah, it's a long dang way.
But it's worth it, man. I love it. I love it. I tell people, you know, I'm lucky enough that I get to do a little work and a little play, and I've got friends, you know, that I've been able to stay with and stuff like that to make it a little bit more feasible to you know, do some of these visits, and so that's, you know, that's been awesome.
Yeah. Now, so far, what is your I don't want to say favorite. What is the most enjoyable thing about doing the filament and the tools and stuff like that? What's the most enjoyable thing of that?
I mean, to me, it's problem solving, you know, and this goes to just making in general, right? It's like identifying a need and finding a solution to doing it, and being able to iterate and improve on something, and you know, make it better. And that's why I love 3D printing so much, is that really makes the iteration process accessible to all. You can, I don't know if you heard the term, you know, you can fail fast, which is totally key if you're going to ever get into product development of any kind. So I have a degree in industrial technology, and up until very recently, I haven't really, you know, leveraged a lot of the stuff that I went to school for. But you know, back in the day, you know, I was learning, you know, basic CAD packages, you know, the 3D modeling packages where, you know, I'm going to date myself a little bit, you know, it's like I was like, back in my day, you know, I walked to school uphill both ways in the snow. But, you know, it was just it was a different animal. And so, you know, one of the reasons I think I really latched onto 3D printing is that, you know, it allowed me to kind of tinker with stuff and to print it out and to watch how it broke, or, you know, figure out how to make it better. And then I grab my calipers. I'm like, oh, I'll just take a little bit off here. And then boom, you know, I've got a new one in, you know, hours or minutes, sometimes depending on the size of the part. So, you know, same thing with product development for me. It's finding an opportunity or a problem and trying to solve it. That's what we kind of did with the rep box when Travis and I, you know, Travis came to me with that because he was like, man, I got so much filament here lying around from all the testing I've done, and I just need to get it organized. And I was kind of working a similar path. I kind of had just an open racking system similar to what Joel had going. And I was like, you know what, I would love that thing too. And so we started making it just out of necessity for ourselves. And then before we knew it, we're like, oh, you know, if we did this, it would be better. If we did this, it would be better. Hey, you know what, we might have something here that people will buy. And then we're like, hey, let's just do it. And that's, you know, kind of happened.
Well, that's cool. And that brings me to the one question I have gotten tweeted to me. And that is that open source, or do you plan to make it open source?
So because of, I would be remiss if I wasn't paying back the RepRap community with all it's given me. And so we really wanted to find a way that, you know, we could try to create something that's sustainable, that maybe we can make a little bit of money with, but at the same time, create something that's accessible to people that might not be able to. And so the way that we're going to do it to start, well, one, we tried to make the box as affordable as possible. So we have a baseline, and then there's upgrades to it depending on what your need is. So there's like a seal kit, a locking kit, and some other stuff. But on top of that, now that we've got the dimensions and stuff locked in, we're going to release a printable version that we're designing to be printable on a CR10 size printer, so a 300 by 300 by 300 that will allow. Let me grab the, you know, one of these smaller splash holes, the 250s.
Okay.
You know, like one of these guys.
Right.
So these are the 250 gram. These are 6-inch diameter and stuff. So These are what kind of put me on the map originally with my filament, because I wanted an offering of color at a value price for people where, you know, instead of having to drop, you know, maybe $100 on getting 4 full kilos of different colors, you know, I wanted to have, you know, more assortment of colors so that those were getting into the space, you know, could have a more affordable solution. So anyway, I've got these, and you see these a lot of different places. The 6-inch and the 8-inch flange diameters seem to have become the de facto standards that most spools are working around, with some exceptions.
Okay, cool. Well,
yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to tell the chat now, hey, if y'all have any questions, now's the time, because I haven't really seen any come across here. So if you have any questions, now's the time. It's 6:46. We got about 15 minutes-ish to talk to Pooch. So y'all get them in while we got them going. So the baseline price is about $89, right, for the rep box.
Yeah, it is. And man, I'll tell you, that is the hardest thing, man. Coming up with a price for something that you know, that we're trying to chat. I mean, we knew it had to be under $100. You know, we knew that, and it probably even eked a little higher than we wanted. But you know, Travis and I we skew a little bit more on the perfectionist side, and so, you know, based on what our costs were and all our parts, I mean, there's not a lot of margin on the rep box as it is right now. Hopefully, as we optimize, you know, our supply chain for our parts and stuff like that, we'll do a little bit better. But you know, that was basically the best we could do with what we were doing and the amount of effort that was going into the box. My hope is that, you know, moving forward, that we can offer either, you know, better options at the same price, or maybe even bring it down. It's just going to depend on if we can get supply, you know, to where it is. So, you know, if anybody's been in product development before, I think they can relate that a lot of times you underprice yourself a lot because you don't take into account how much labor goes into something, or how much, and you know, we're just kidding these things together. So, speak of the devil, look your show up.
He shall appear, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the R&D. It took, you know, several iterations for y'all to do that.
Several.
You know, I mean, it's just
making a box, man. It's a
box, right? But another question. You were working on a sealed version. Is that production ready? Is it?
Yeah, it is actually. So we talked about that on the last catch up briefly. I was lamenting the other day that we didn't really have the camera set up for really showing that thing off. So I don't think it got the detail that it needed. And so Travis is actually on his way over here right now, and we're putting the finishing touches on the assembly guide and taking some better pictures, because I know the pictures on the website are just, well, one, they're old, you know, so they don't show off all the new, you know, enhancements to the thing. And then, you know, the sealed version. So we like I said, we made the thing modular intentionally, because I think my contention is the base box is good enough for most people out there. It is still very sealed, even without the gaskets and all the other stuff. But then we sell a sealing kit on top of that that's like that EDPM rubber that, you know, you see in your car door, you know, that really high grade stuff, or the weather stripping. And that I'm not going to say it's a dry box, but that gets us really, really close. So you take that and you silicone the joints, and man, it's I'd say I'd feel comfortable with that being in Florida or Houston or any of the, you know, really humid places. You'd be a good tester for that, huh?
I've got to do humidity. I've got to do something. I think the lowest it's been this summer has been like 81%.
You should see our testing, you know, room, because Travis is like, okay, we're gonna throw the box in you know, my spare bedroom with a humidifier, and just let that humidifier run for like days. And we put a little humidity sensor inside the box, outside the box, and then we're trying to get test data on, you know, the box without the sealing, the box with the sealing, and we're not ready to release it yet because I'm not confident in our scientific method fully. But I mean, I think it's a pretty good indicator.
Well, I can guarantee you that I wouldn't need a humidifier.
Now you wouldn't, but it's a little bit drier here. I really wanted, you know, have like an ad where it's like you just like walk in the door and it's like Vader coming out of his like little recharging chamber, which is all the steam is pouring out, and then the box is, you know, right there. You
get somebody that vapes like I do to stand behind the door when you open the door and have to blow the vape out.
It's just Walter on the other side blowing vapes, you know.
Right. There you go. Jeremy, I cannot say that man's last name, but Jeremy, he asked the printable box that you were talking about. Will it be cheaper? Or will it be open source? Will it, how are you going to do that?
Open source. We're going to put that thing up on Thingiverse. It'll be there. And I mean, look, I'm not. Here's the thing. You go to Murph, and we're all makers, and there's nothing special about this box. Like, it would be pretty easy for somebody to want, if they wanted to reverse engineer it or develop their own, they could. We're hopeful that people want to support the cause and are willing to buy when they can. But if you can't, we wanted to give, maybe an option that could be useful to some people. So we'll release the files. It's basically, you're just going to print the panels just like we laser cut our panels, and then assemble the thing together. And it's just a couple screws that hold it together, and you should be good to go.
And he asked, what material, and will it be sealable? But wouldn't it be good for, like, if you sold the seal kits to go, hey, this is the stuff we seal with.
Yeah,
that type of stuff.
What I am offering is that if you want to print out the stuff, there is still some hardware that is not ideally printable. So, like, the lid stays that, keep the lid up. The little pneumatic connectors that are the Bowden tube that runs out. Right. So there's some slight modifications that happen because those diameters don't change. Like, that doesn't scale down with the box the same way that the panels do. So those will be available for very reasonably, price. I mean, you can get 5 of those for, like, I want to say I have it like $5.99, $4.99, something like that. And then I sell lengths of PTFE tube and stuff. And so you can buy that by the meter and, cut it and route them directly to your printer if you want, or, however you want to do it. So, I want to make the rep wrap affordable and reasonable to, for people. And I'd really love to see what people come up with, because, when you release stuff like that, when the community gets its hands on stuff, you get the benefit of people tinkering with it and improving on it. And hopefully, giving us some ideas for how we can make our thing better. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. I mean, that's every day. Go on Thingiverse and search for Kuntry, Kuntry. It's ridiculous, the things they put out there with a cowboy hat. You're becoming a meme, man. You're like, I love that print with your. I got to do one of those prints, man. I want the beard and the glasses. Where is it?
Wait. Here you go. Here you go. Can you see that?
Oh, it's on the mug now. Oh man, I got to get me the mug.
There's a wine glass out there that how I do it Matt did a wine glass. It's out there.
Oh man,
it's ridiculous, man.
I hadn't seen that yet. I haven't seen
Okay, and Tinker's just talking to you there for a second.
Yeah, I see that. He's talking about printer belt.
Yeah.
We got Chris Self. I haven't met Chris. I don't think I've met Chris. So he's asking about master spool for filament. Yeah. So master spool is it's a subject that's near and dear to me. And we actually talked about this at Protopasta when I was up there, and actually did a little interviewing around that because it just makes a lot of sense. As a supplier, it's awesome. And I think even as an end user, it's awesome, because I can't tell you, you can only make so many of those little spool organization caddies and all this stuff before you just start getting overwhelmed with spools and, don't have anything to do with them. Yeah. So being able to just get a coil, slap it on there and go is awesome. The problem is I have the benefit of a lot of sales data from a lot of different suppliers and stuff. And while marketing wise, people really seem to love master spool, the data just hasn't been there on people actually committing to the sale, because at the end of the day, I think people want that convenience of being able to just like, well, I don't want to have to worry about it. I get that. I hope that'll change. But right now I'm too small to be able to take a risk on something that just doesn't have sales data to back it up. So
well, I think one of the things too, people are looking for, like me, I have yet to print a master spool.
Yep.
And you should have seen me fighting last night to get a sample on one of these other spools that I have in here. Mm-hmm. But because somebody's like, there's a master spool for samples. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I think the one thing that people are looking for is that when they're going to have to do that extra work, they're looking for it to be a lower cost. Yep. But that's not the point. The point was to save the shipping weight, so you get the weight in filament instead of spool.
Yeah, it's a couple things, right? So that's a benefit to the supplier, right? Hey, like I can share, if I can save, ideally the idea is if I can save that money in material, like, I mean, the spools that I use, like these little clear ones, like these things cost almost $1 a piece. And when you're looking at, spending $20 on a, that's a good percentage of the cost of the spool. And, I'm sure if I was bigger and I could order in a more bulk, like I could get that down. But, there's a good amount of cost associated with that. The shipping, they have weight associated with them. I could pack a lot more in a box. There's a lot of reasons it's great for me, but it's not about me necessarily. Like, it's got to be more compelling to the end user. So ideally, the savings is supposed to be passed along to the end user, right? So it's supposed to be cheaper for you to buy a coil and all of that stuff. And I really hope it'll get there. I think Rich Rap has done some amazing stuff. He's a fantastic influencer in the space. It really needs to happen. I just think that people aren't fully there yet. And I really, if you want to see Master Spool, I say vote with your dollar. My recommendation, honestly, if you're into Master Spool, I think a good place to start would be either look at Protopasta, because they're Master Spool compatible. You just tear off the side of their cardboard spools. They're very near and dear on the spooling things, and that thing just slaps right on there. Matter Hackers offers a bunch of Master Spool and stuff there too. And I think other manufacturers, myself included, I'm not a manufacturer, other suppliers will follow suit. If enough people get on, but it needs a critical mass first.
Well, and another thing is, and I talked to the guys from Mosaic about it at IRF. If they could take their technology that they have and downsize it and sell a filament splicer for like $150, where you could feed in that second spool so that when the first one ran out, the second one just automatically kicked in and started taking, and then you could alternate back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
If they would do that, get it down to about $150, I think that would also help the Master Spool thing, because people don't want to buy a roll of filament just to print spools with.
Right.
But they've got all these little bitty rolls like I've got sitting back here that have little bitty amounts on them that they would be more than willing to feed into this machine to print stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
I think we will see stuff like that. I mean, that's the awesome thing about this community, is that people are innovating every day, coming out with new stuff. I've spent a good amount of time thinking about this too. I think that there could be some in-betweens. Hack Monkey in the chat brings up a really, really good point, that I think the reason it's not compelling for a lot of people is that if you only have, one or two master spools and you got stuff on there and you want to switch out colors or whatever, you got to take the coil off and put something else on, or you got to print another master spool, and that's not practical for a lot of people, right? And so it's not like if everybody was just printing the same color and the same material, and it was like when this ran out, then I just slap another coil on there, that's great. But the truth is, people want to have different spools so they can load in and load out all their different materials, and then that takes away a lot from the whole compelling nature of the master spool.
Well, it does, but most of the master spools are set so you can like get a zip tie in it, tie your spool down, and then take it apart and do your thing. But like you said, if you're in the middle of a color change print or something like that, and you want to do 3, 4, 5 different colors, there's 3, 4, 5 different master spools. Like Filament Frenzy, who likes to do all these stupid prints.
Stupid. They're really
stupid good, man. He makes me.
You're right, but let's be honest, Walter. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm trying to print stuff, and I'm like, oh, I got to get this thing on, and I'm lucky if I take the thing and I just chuck the spool, away, like, taking the time to like zip tie the other one and take it off. It's just like, and unfortunately, like I said, I think people talk a good game, but when it comes down to it, there's a convenience to just having that pre-spooled stuff that I don't know that people are ready to get away from yet.
Well, and I don't either, because the cost differential isn't there. If you were buying spools of filament for Master Spool at $9.99 every day, yeah, people would be behind Master Spool right now.
Yeah,
hand over fist. So, yeah,
maybe you're right. If the price got to a point, maybe that would be it. But I don't know. It depends. I think there's always going to be people out there that at any cost, it's just not worth the hassle. And then there's going to be like, if it was $10 cheaper a spool, heck yeah, I'd do that all day long. So
those people have more money than I do, because if I could buy filament for $9.99 per roll every day, all day, then I would definitely be on the Master Spool bandwagon right now.
Hey, you and me both, man.
All right, so we're at the end of the hour of our interview.
Oh, it's already over?
It is over, man. You know what they say. You're having fun. It goes.
It's on that caffeine kick in and everything here.
So here's what I want you to do, Pooch. I want you to tell these people why they should get the rep box. They should try your filament. Why should they trust Alan Puccinelli?
That's a really great question. You know what's funny too is I want to. Can we be clear too? Like I had no agenda coming on here. Like I don't want anybody to be like, oh, I want to come in and hawk my wares, because really that was not what I was going for here. And I feel like I'm always a little bit sensitive to that. But you know, that being said, and you asked me, I will say, so my point of differentiation, I think, with my stuff, I mentioned it earlier. I try to come up with a unique offering. The majority of my clientele are people that are getting into 3D printing. So if you know somebody that's getting started and wants to get, you know, Maker Select Mini or one of the Mini Deltas or something like that, like these sizes, where you can get an array, you know, get more of the rainbow of stuff for a more affordable price, I think that's a good option. I think that's compelling for a lot of people. For the rep box, my main thing, and this is me, right? So everybody's going to be different. But so much of being a maker, I think being successful as a maker involves being organized. Yep. So originally the rep box was born as an organization tool that was like, let's get this stuff up off the ground. I want it to be able to be mounted on the wall or stacked on my desk. And I think that because we're getting a lot of interest from maker spaces in schools, you know, that's telling me that we were on the right track and that there's a need in this space. So I think we have a unique offering at a unique price point where, you know, I haven't seen anything else out there that is going to allow you to basically be able to print from your organization system. And then on top of that, as the MMU units become bigger and people are doing multi-color and multi-material and stuff like that, we wanted something that was a better offering than, you know, I don't know if you've seen the MMU spool holders that, you know, Pooch sends, but it's a big bulky thing that, you know, takes up a lot of space on your desk and whatnot. And we're like, we can do better. Right. And so we want to believe we have a unique thing. I say we because it's a collab between Travis and I. Travis is not a Repkord employee. We just happen to be collaborating on this particular one. And I'm really lucky to have him because he's a really talented designer and he supplements my skill set well. But anyway, you know, we're both very receptive to feedback. We're both the kind of person that is, you know, we're not going to leave you hanging if you get something and you have a problem or there's a part that breaks on you or something we missed. Like, I mean, our name's on it and we want to make sure, just like you, like we use this stuff. I don't want you, you know, to feel like you got nobody to talk to the way that, you know, you do when you're dealing with a large company and stuff like that. It's the true mom and pop nature of it, you know. So not only
are you the owner, you're a customer.
Not only am I, yeah. Was that the hair club?
Hair club for men, was it?
Oh yeah, that's it. Whatever happened to that dude?
I don't know.
He bald?
All that hair club product he might not hear anymore. I don't know.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks everybody out there that's giving me all the props. I mean, I wish I could respond to everybody out here. But,
I think we got all the questions. Now, Matt did say, did you do a spool for Joel's challenge? Did you try one of those?
You mean the spool holder for Joel's?
Yeah.
So I haven't submitted it yet, but if I can get it out, my joke was going to be, I don't have a box handy right here, but I was basically like just design 2 hooks that go on the back of the rep box, and just say, here, hang the rep box, you know, on the end of your rack, and that's my submission. Right.
Well, Matt said, you said Travis was on his way. Is he not there yet? I mean,
no, he's not here. In fact, I think he's still he's not supposed to, he's just wrapping up work, so I don't think he's going to be here.
I got you.
Yeah.
But no, you know, it's good, and like I said, you were on here not to hawk your wares per se, but I do these interviews as interviews. You know, this is what I want them to do. I want people to know who you are and get your word out there, and that's what these are for. It's not for me to go buy from Repkord, because only bit that I've got is that little bit of purple haze up there. But I will be getting a. Oh wait, Sean had one more question.
Oh, the Dragon Monk had a good one about 3mm.
Oh,
well,
okay.
you tell me if we're running long. You know, I'm good. But if you got.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you be willing to add an option when ordering a box to tell if we want 1.75 or 3mm?
We are doing that very thing. So the connectors are my challenge right now. Because the holes for the 175 are drilled as such, we really wanted to be able to like not have to send you like have to swap out that panel where all the filaments coming out. We're calling it the exit panel, but there's probably a better name for it. But anyway, the pneumatic connectors need to be able to like attach like a 4mm inside diameter tube for a 3. But the intent is we're going to sell a retrofit kit that I'm hoping will just be the PTFE tube and the pneumatic connectors, so that if you run 3mm filament, it's bing bang boom, you're good. So yeah, we will have a solution for that. Yes.
Well, that's cool. And you brought up the MMU, and Chris Riley and I both ordered our MMUs on the same day because we're going to do a live build of them on each other's channel.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. I got one too, but I think I was a little later to the game. When did you order it?
Oh, I don't remember, dude. It's been a while. It's been a while. And I keep checking daily. You know, Shane from How I Do, or not from Prusa, Shane from Prusa. He's on my stream quite often, and I hit him up all the time. Hey, where's my stuff?
Travis is here now, apparently. I didn't hold on a second. I got to open the door. We got time to say hi to Travis?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, hold on.
Guys, I hope you're enjoying this, and we'll see them when they come back in just a second. But do go check out the website, repkord.com, and check out the stuff they've got to offer. And I'm sure they have affiliate links for Amazon or whatever.
Oh, man. Yeah, I got Amazon. He's coming. He's coming. I told him the door. I'm like, just when you get here, the door's open. Just come on in. But the door wasn't open. I lied. You don't want just strangers wandering in off the street here, man. You know,
he's coming straight from work. He really wants to get on camera right now.
Oh, man,
right?
He's all about it. Here, why don't you guys just peek your head in here and come say hi? I don't have a chair right.
What's up?
What's up, Travis?
There he is. Here he is, the man in the flesh.
And now we have Pooch and a pyro design, so we have to go another hour and a half.
Yeah. He brought over. So what? I don't even know how many prototypes we're on for this box at this point, but we're like, okay, this is the final one. No, wait, this is the final one. No, wait, this is the final one. So I think we're on like our 5th final one. But anyway, he came over here tonight so we can get that build manual wrapped up and all the kind of the less glamorous components that go into, you know, product development. And then we got to work on our packaging and, you know, some stuff like that too. But we've been having a good time with it. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. And like we said, if nothing else, we know we're going to use them. So,
oh yeah.
Let me say this, Teresa, you missed the intro for Pooch. Teresa's in Australia, by the way.
Hey, Teresa.
And then Travis just showed up, a pyro design. If you saw his thing up there, you need to check both channels, Repkord and a pyro design. Repkord store, a pyro designs channel. Because yeah.
Let me just say something about the store really quick. So I don't know, for those of you who haven't been paying attention, so the Repkord site for a long time, I wasn't doing direct sales. That changed when we launched the Rep box. So that was a new thing. And I'm really excited to say that I've been able to grow to the point where I've gotten the attention of a couple of other people. So we're going to be reselling, you know, a lot more accessories. There's going to be a lot more filament offerings on there. IC3D is partnering with me. We're doing some really cool stuff on the filament offerings. The like Gecko Tech, Build Tech product lines are going to be up shortly. So that this site is it'll look probably pretty different in the coming weeks, but we're really excited about it. Hopefully once we get this Rep box bundling off to the pre-order people, you know, this is like, we didn't do a Kickstarter, but if I can see how people get really, you know, I have a lot of respect for people who've done Kickstarters and stuff.
Right,
you know, it always takes longer than you think. And anyway, so that'll be new.
I am going to ask Travis now. I mean, I know you and Pooch are kind of collaborating on this Repkord box, but what has this process been like? And I know you have your own Etsy store and stuff like that. We'll have you on. I asked you before if you'd come on here for an interview, and you were busy, I think.
Yeah.
So, but what's the process been like? Has it taught you anything that you didn't know already about trying to get a product ready for sale and that type of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been like extremely harder than I thought it was going to be. I was like, oh, we'll just bust out this box. We can laser cut it up and send these out to people.
How hard can it be?
It's been way more than that. We want to get everything, you know, as perfect as we can. So it's just like, you know, the little things as like moving a hole, like just 1 millimeter down, and there's like, you know, 60 or something holes on the thing. So we got to like,
there's a cascade effect.
You move one and it adjusts something else. So it's like, it's pretty crazy. It's been a lot of fun, but it's been definitely a learning experience.
Yeah, everybody was saying this is now Country Ketchup, but we're missing Heather, so it can't be Country Ketchup.
It's not the ketchup without Heather, man. She's the integral.
No, but it's really cool though. This is one of those things about the community though that is so awesome. Like I was telling you about Chris and I we built the Ender 3, and I was streaming on my channel. He was streaming on his, while we both had Google Hangouts up with each of us on each other's streams.
Nice.
So it was really cool to do, and we're going to do that with the MMU2 as well. But that's the cool thing, is these collaborations can happen. I mean, how long have you known Travis? Really? I mean,
when did we first like?
Probably almost a year.
It's been at least a year. Yeah. I was telling him earlier that, you know, this was the spinners that you were doing really was what kind of like put us in touch with each other. Yeah. And so that was at least a year ago.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. So yeah, it's probably been about a year.
Yeah. About a
okay.
year.
Oh, look at who it is.
Oh, look at there. Joel did make it. Thank you, Joel. But you know, and that's the cool thing about this though, is that without this community, that this collaboration couldn't happen. You know, I mean, would you have ran into him without 3D printing? Would you have ever crossed paths really with Travis? Or Joel for that matter, you know?
I mean, none of them. And I mean, like, that's just the best part about it. It's like, you know, finding like-minded, passionate people. You know, we're all, you know, at the end of the day, we're all people. It's like people, you know, see the Repkord brand, and I told you make weird assumptions, but it's, you know, we're people, right? And for the most part, I would say, you know, there's you know, we're easy to talk to. We're normal, and it's normal is relative. But, you know, I've been really lucky to meet just so many great people, and I look forward to, you know, meeting that many more. It's always really cool when, you know, there's people you've been chatting with online that you finally get to meet in person. And, you know, I just love that. That's what keeps me going. That's what I said.
Right. Well, and I hate to say goodbye since Travis just got here, but yeah. I know his knees will thank me in just a minute. So, but guys, if you don't have any more questions, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to let Pooch and Travis take us out here, and then I'll hop back on here and tell you bye, and then we'll see you tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, all right, tell them where they can find you. You know, we
got a lot of work to do. You can find me on Repkord everything. So Facebook.com/Repkord, Instagram.com/Repkord, @Repkord, and that's REPKORD.
It's your radio show voice.
Yeah, yeah. And Travis.
Yeah, I'm just at Apyro Design everywhere. Same thing, Instagram, Facebook. Anywhere you can find Apyro Design.
Yep. And we look forward to talking to you guys more. We're going to do catch up next week, and we got a lot of exciting stuff coming up on that front too. So if you haven't started following the catch up, follow the catchy too on Twitter.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to pop over, and then I'll be right back. Okay. All right, guys. That is the interview with Pooch and Repkord, and I'm glad Travis jumped in there. I mean, we've had a great stream. Thank you guys for being here, and we will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. for country time. So y'all come see us, and if you're in the market for some filament, boxes, tools, you name it, go see Repkord. And if you need something laser cut, go see Travis. But anyway, guys. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, well.